All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Me here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. All right, I have some Journey news, okay, and I'll get to the Journey milestone, big achievement. Before I talk about that, here are the Crows, and their album Ready When You Are. I got this over the weekend, and I am now just promoting it. Nobody pays me to promote these albums. This album cost me about twice what a normal CD would cost. One of these pop CDs that you can get for like $8. Instead, this cost me like 20 something. But I'll tell you what, it's great music. I wanted to share with the audience. If you like classic rock, 70s and 80s, I had a mixed opinion on what decade this would be most comfortable being mainstream in, and it could be 70s, it could be 80s. So check out the Crows, not to be confused with Counting Crows or the Black Crows or any other Crows. Okay, they're just the Crows, and Ready When You Are. All right, now on to this momentous occasion for the band Journey. The headline: Journey's greatest hits album has reached a rare plateau by notching its 800th week on the Billboard 200. Will Steve Perry thank his parents for this? I'm sorry. Someone sent me that message this morning. They're like, did you see this? Wonder if Steve is going to take to Instagram to thank his parents. Look, his parents put up with all of the shenanigans of a young Steve Perry, plus the fact they nurtured his musical acumen. All right. And they made it possible for Steve to become one of the greatest, if not the greatest singer in the world. So his parents did a good thing and they need to be thanked. But some other people probably deserve a lot of recognition for this, for keeping the boat floating. Now, here's the other part of this. Only two other acts have done this: Pink Floyd and Bob Marley. Now, with Pink Floyd, their support system is kind of drying up because, again, other than like a couple of songs here or there, Pink Floyd does not enjoy the level of radio airplay that Journey enjoys today. Pink Floyd, even without Roger Waters, hasn't toured in a very long time. So out of sight, out of mind. I know Dave Gilmour, I believe, has a solo record coming out. The other issue with Pink Floyd is you've got division between Waters and Gilmour, not only musically, but politically. So that doesn't really help their cause all that much in continuing to sell albums. I thought when I was younger that Pink Floyd was kind of like Beethoven. It was just going to sell. And it still will sell, right? Like Michael Jackson will still sell. Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 1, still going to be a big deal. And there are certain albums. But Legend, I will say, by Bob Marley, right? That's going to just continue because Bob Marley, all right, kind of just transcends pretty much all of the noise, all of the clutter. There's something about Bob Marley that just instantly puts you in a good mood. Even if you're not a big fan of reggae, Bob Marley just had a piece about him, and it was built into the music. And of course, people smoke a lot of ganja when they listen to Bob Marley. Not me. Never did this stuff. Nope. Kind of inhaled a few times at those college parties, but no, I just wasn't into smoke. So that's why I avoided all of that. But anyway, I think Bob Marley has a better chance at, being in the 200 for a lot longer than, say, Pink Floyd. Although things could change. You never know. We'll know in about 100 years, and maybe most of us won't be here. All right, just throwing that out there. So this is a big deal, though. Journey's Greatest Hits made its Billboard 200 debut. Get this, back on December 3rd, 1988. At that point, the record label knew, right, that the Journey thing was over. So they're putting out a greatest hits album. Now there's a greatest hits 2. There should be, you know why they don't mess around with this too much? Because they want this to continue breaking records. So if they change the compilation, like I always was thinking, Steve Miller's greatest hits, for instance, was really paltry and it missed out on so much great music. And then Steve Miller updated and did this complete greatest hits, which was fantastic. But that 74 through 78 album, which you've seen a billion times, I'm thinking, they could have just left that out there instead of putting together this better compilation. But I think the new one instantly sold like 5 million copies or whatever. Maybe not that many, but it did super well. And it represented the catalog better. The Journey's greatest hits, I think they have tweaked it a little bit over the years. But, it did really well out of the gate. Debuted back on December 3rd, 1988. It reached 10 million in sales in 1999. So it peaked at number 10, by the way, on February 11th, 1989. So people were still wanting Journey. Hey, where's Journey? Where did they go? What's this bad English? They don't want bad. I mean, bad English was great, but people were like, please give us some more Journey. And hence, this is why you had an album hitting number 10. And I don't think they released any additional songs from it. A lot of times they do these greatest hits albums and they put out a couple, like Eddie Money had a greatest hits album that came out almost at the same time. And they put out like 2 other tracks. There was this one song called Peace in Our Time. Did pretty well. I think it hit the top 20, maybe even the top 10. And bands tend to do that. I think Kansas did it as well with their best of compilation. This goes on to say fans weren't the only ones who found themselves putting these old favorites in perspective. Steve Perry said, I forgot how good they were. Steve Perry says, I forgot how good they were. The stereo separation, the echoes, the snare drum sounds. This is what Steve Perry told the Tampa Bay Times after putting together a sequel, 2011's Greatest Hits 2. He added that Neil Sean's guitar is stupidly amazing and completely, still to this day, underrated in my opinion. Now, kudos there to Uncle Steve for giving Neil Sean a pat on the back over 10 years ago, right? Now, like I say, when I hear Steve Perry talk about the old catalog, and he's kind of like the overseer of all of the classic stuff that he was a part of, which is cool. But everybody neglects in this particular article something that Neil Sean pointed out the other day, that, hey, we're out here touring. See this band over here that we've been all over the world and we're going to go some more and do some more touring. Yeah, this is driving. And this is my point about Pink Floyd and Bob Marley, obviously, is no longer on planet Earth. So that's a little tough. But he's just going to continue to sell because he's Bob Marley. Pink Floyd, obviously not getting back together again anytime soon. So you've got this touring machine and you're getting generations now. Sorry, that's a Journey album title in case you didn't know. You got generations of fans coming out to hear this band. And some of them are thinking, hey, I'd like to hear more than just Don't Stop Believin'. I think I'll buy Journey's greatest hits. And so this band is driving album sales. Now you can thank Steve's mom and dad. I think that's appropriate. But you also have to thank Neil and John for keeping the franchise going and for keeping the lights on and for also putting out a pretty good product. I mean, again, nothing's going to top Journey with Steve in their prime. Nothing's going to top that. But if you want to keep this music going and keep that snowballing, then being on tour with Toto and then Def Leppard, hanging out with Cheap Trick and maybe Heart on one or two occasions. I can't remember this year. It's going to be a very cool year. If you're a fan of this style of music, you can go out and see some great shows, and you can support one of the greatest charting Billboard albums of all time. I'm waiting for Forbes magazine to come out and say, yeah, this is your greatest album ever, Journey's greatest hits. I mean, I'm still partial to the individual albums and saying Escape is my favorite. Some people like Infinity better. Some people like Frontiers better. It'll always be Escape for me, just because when that came out, what age I was at, what was going on in the world and so forth. And the quality of that album is just spectacular. The production, everything just came together at that moment with John and Steve and Neil. And so it's tough to actually do better than that. So anyway, will Steve Perry thank his parents? And will Neil Sean say, hey, Steve, we've been touring over here. Look at us. We've been doing a good job, right? We're selling out these big stadiums and, you know, we keep the ball rolling down the field. And anyway, that's a mini feud. That's just like a playful feud. That's not all that bad. I think what's great about it is the more tickets Journey can sell, the more money Steve Perry makes. So Steve Perry has got to be very happy that this franchise is doing so well. All right. Before I go, check out the Crows. And this is just a great classic rock band. Ready When You Are is the name. Catchy title. Ready When You Are, the Crows. Not to be confused with the Black Crows or the Counting Crows or any other Crows. So check this out. I know it's confusing, but it's just the Crows. Keeping it simple, right? And thanks for supporting the channel. Things are crazy in the Middle East. So what I do, rather than take a side and start picking a fight about this, I say, please pray for peace. All right? Pray for real peace in the Middle East and around the world, for that matter. Because war is expensive, and it's driving the cost of everything that we pay for, because we're spending so much money on these endless wars, and they never go away. Hence, that's why they're called endless wars. God bless everyone, and I will see you all soon.